Tim Bateman, welcome to the Marketing for Business podcast.
Mate, good to be here.
Mate, I'm excited to have you here. Like, we met last Christmas Eve on a boat with Paul Wright going crayfishing. What a guy, like taking us out crayfishing the day before Christmas.
I know, mate. I know. And I think it was organised like the day before Christmas. So it's sort of one of those ones.
Mate, he was like, you want to go crayfishing? I was like, yeah. It was actually an expensive trip for me. I didn't say anything, but I got a speeding ticket on the way over.
Did you really?
Yeah. New car, and I come off the lights, and next minute, I was probably 20 something Ks over, and I warranted, but my license wasn't updated to my new address of 10 years. So I didn't get the ticket for 6 months, so it wasn't too long.
It was a good trip though, wasn't it?
Few craze before Christmas, living like kings on Christmas Day. But mate, we had a bit of a chat about business and what you've been doing, and I thought it was a great opportunity. You've got some exciting stuff happening with those studios to have a chat about business. And one of the concepts I want to talk to today, because a lot of people here are business owners. Some people are starting out, some people are going. The ebbs and flows of business. But, one of the things I want to talk about was your journey from professional rugby into sporting, because a lot of people, they see sporting people, put them up on a pedestal, and you see some business people then go into business and they don't quite make it. And I think what I love about what you guys have done is you've really, really focused on a niche, and you've got really, really good at it. And I think that's a great transition. But also how to actually start a business and then grow it to the level that you're growing to and now starting to franchise, and not only in New Zealand, but also Australia. So appreciate your time.
Awesome. No, good to be here.
Mate, when you think about business, when you think about playing rugby, were you always thinking about a business as well, or was because it must be a little bit scary as a professional rugby player? What do I do when it ends? What was your thought process when you were going through playing rugby? 17 years, a long time.
Yeah, I think it was 17 years. It was a long time, but I think for each of those years, I always thought it was going to be my last.
Yeah,
true. I always thought that, these guys are going to figure me out very quickly, and they're going to be like, see you later, Tim, we don't need you anymore. And combined with that, we had kids young. So Laura and I, we got together really young, and we had kids when we were 19. We had our first, and 21 when we had our second. And so I think in the back of my mind, I was always just like, I need to have something really solid in the background that I'm working towards. So I started studying. I was full-time with the Crusaders, and I was studying law. I was doing exams in Durban hotel rooms and all sorts. So I was always like preparing for after, which probably isn't the best way to be in sport. If I was to look back, I was like, actually, to be the best, you've got to be all in. You've got to be really all in. So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't a little bit. But I mean, business for me, as soon as I started learning a little bit about it, I knew I had to be involved. My father-in-law, Lance Ash, he does Lance Ash interior plastering, so big plastering business here in the South Island. And he was always just asking those sorts of questions, like, what are you looking at? What are you doing? And I don't know, I had fantastic conversations with him. So I knew I was going to get into business. It was really about like, what's it going to be? Yeah.
Hey, good. So studying, did you finish law? Because that's a long degree as well, right?
I did 4 years. I've got about 6 months to go.
Wow.
So I left New Zealand for a year and a half to Japan, like in the early in my career. And I had to stop studying New Zealand. Like, you can't study New Zealand law outside of New Zealand. I picked it back up, did another year about 3 years later, and then I opened Cloud9 actually. So I ended up just being like, actually, I'll put this on pause. My parents are always on my case. They're like, come on, you've got to finish it. But I can't at the moment. Yeah.
Well, you never know. They might give you an honour degree as well one day. You never know. Hey, one thing I read on your LinkedIn, and I thought it was really, really cool, and I'll read it out. From the rugby pitch to business, I've always been driven by performance, resilience, and transformation. Now, where did that drive come from? Does that come from somewhere? Like, some people you meet, it's their parents. Some people it's just internal. Where did you?
Yeah, I think if you think about it, like, we're all trying to perform in life, whether that be, at work, whether that be in your relationship, whether that be, on a sporting pitch, we're all trying to be our best, maybe some more so than others, but, what are the needle movers for performance? What are the needle movers? Yeah. And I mean, the big thing for me was, everything in professional sport is analysed. Everything. I mean, every acceleration, every how many meters are you covering? What's the skill set off your left hand, off your right hand? Every tackle, every act in the game, I could go through and be like, I've performed well, or I haven't performed well.
Oh, wow.
So it's really stark.
Yeah.
And the big sort of eye opener for me was like, every week I was pretty much the same physically.
Yep.
I'd have small little incremental changes over the course of a season, but physically, I was the same speed.
Yep.
I was the same strength. I was the same fitness. I put in the same preparation. I'm seeing the game in the same sort of way. So physically, I was the same week in, week out. But if you looked at my performance, it wasn't, it wasn't consistent. So what was the change?
Yeah.
So what is the change? And, looking back on things, retrospectively, pretty much if you overlay my wife's health with my performance on the field, they're like a mirror of one another. When Laura's health was good, my performances were good. When Laura's health wasn't that great, my performances wasn't that great. So it was always like a real, source of frustration that, why is my mental, emotional, sort of my feeling off the field impacting my performance on the field?
So how did you capture that? Because that's one thing, I really believe in that personal development space, and business is the ultimate personal development, I believe. How did you catch yourself in thinking like that? Like, were you just starting to go, well, I'm seeing these stats, there must be something going on? Like, did someone else say that to you?
I mean, to be honest, it was just, I hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
Like I did. I remember being in, we'd just done this mad full night. We met at 3 o'clock in the afternoon at the Hurricanes. And we did the army were there, and we did this massive big training. Anyway, we ended up finishing at about 10 a.m. the next day.
Wow.
Had about an hour's sleep, and then we got up and we were doing this sort of feedback session.
Yeah.
And I just broke down in the session.
Really?
And I sort of, there was a lot happening at home at the time with Laura and the girls and stuff. And I didn't realize how much it was impacting me.
Yep.
And what it took was a bunch of guys sitting in a room telling me that, we wish you saw yourself the way we saw you.
Wow.
That real stuff that was like, you're too hard on yourself. Like, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize how obvious it was. So anyway, long story short, I was not in a great space mentally. Physically, I wasn't performing well as well. And so I started just doing some work on it, got alongside a couple of people and started really looking at actually what are the needle movers here? How can I be really present? I
love that.
At training, on the field. How can I feel really confident in myself? How can I get out there just knowing that I deserve to be here, and I'm in a place that I want to be. And I started loving the game again. So once again, it's they sound like fluffy things, but the direct correlation to performance and actually being, ultimately stress was the driver there. Like stress was driving me to perform.
You're under the microscope, right? Like, so you put someone under the microscope long enough, you're gonna find some cracks, right? And that's probably where you started to. How did you switch though from like being a husband and a dad and a professional rugby player and under that environment too? Because wherever you go, you're going.
Yeah. I loved being, I loved having little kids at home, and so I always found it pretty easy to show up at home. It was more around how home was impacting, my game life, and it's how do you sort of jump into that and be good at that, and how do you jump into this and be good at this. And so I was very, very aware that I wanted to be a good dad, but once again, it was more around how can I actually, and once again, it wasn't if I was thinking about Laura on the field.
No.
It's not as if I'm out there thinking about Laura. So how's it impacting me? It's more the underlying stress that's impacting. And just without going into too much detail on it, there's some really good research on this now, but like, what does stress do to the body?
Yeah, nice.
So the stress, what it can do is your vision narrows is one of the things. So like as an athlete on the rugby field, you want to have your peripheral vision up and open, but if you're under stress, your vision goes like this.
Gilbert Anoka talks about that, and I was fascinated when he started talking about how your vision just really narrows.
Yeah, the second thing it does is that your communication stops. Like you can't communicate effectively. Is that important as an athlete on the field? Of course it's important. Third thing it does is your skill sets harden. There's no need for you if you're really stressed, if you're trying to get away from a tiger on the field. It's just like get as fast as you can. You don't need to be able to do, so you don't think as clearly. You don't need to think clearly when you're stressed. So, you're losing your cognitive function, you're losing your physical abilities. So being able to get yourself in a state where you can perform, which is calm under pressure.
Under pressure.
That's the sweet spot. That's when you're in the zone.
Do you reckon some of your stress came from playing with the goats of the game as well? like seriously, you're around these people that they look infallible to people, and like, did you ever have like imposter syndrome, like sometimes like playing with the goats of the game, even though like your teammates are now telling you, hey, you're good, man, like you are a seriously good player? Did that affect you as well?
When I first came in, like when I first went into the Crusaders, it was like, all my idols, the Rich McCaws, the Brad Thorns, the Dan Carters, I just like couldn't, and I was 18 years old, I was sort of pinching myself to be there, but I mean, what you learn very quickly is like everyone's just, happy for you to be there,
Yeah.
like giving and
Yeah,
I mean,
true.
I was lucky enough to play, 4 years with Dan, 4 years with Bowden, Barrett,
Yeah.
and 4 years with Richie Monga.
Okay, good.
So like playing outside, the four best 5'8s,
Yeah.
at like the peak of their careers. And
That's
so
awesome.
I sort of got an insight on what,
Yeah.
like what genuine talent and performance
Yeah,
can
yeah.
be. But no, it's at the beginning I definitely felt that, but very quickly you just feel like you're part of the
You're
team.
part of the team. I remember when they won the World Cup in 2011. Obviously they did a parade around Christchurch, and my business was in Riccarton Road, and 35 Riccarton Road, and the Nando's was out the front, and one of the All Blacks must have lived next door to the Nando's guy. So they came in, this bus pulled up outside, and all the All Blacks came into Nando's. And I was like, man, this is awesome. So I go down there, and Brad Thorne's got the cup, and I think he had gloves on, and he has this cup, and people are getting photos. And I remember going up to Brad Thorne, like going, and he goes, I said to him, and he had the cup, and we're getting a photo, and I said, oh, can I hold it? And he just looked at me and goes, what do you think? And I was like, okay, got it. I'll just take my photo.
Yeah.
But he was a man mountain, but like,
he was a man.
just-
I could tell you some stories about Brad. He's a top man.
yeah, it was funny. Yeah, I got it like straight away. He didn't have to say anything else. I was like, cool. I get it.
I'll tell you one real quick
Nice,
story about
love
Brad.
it.
This was my first year in the Crusaders, and I was doing an interview with the guy from the press. No, it wasn't. It was a TV interview. And they were asking me lots of different types of questions about players in the team, like who's the loudest snorer, all that sort of stuff. And one of the questions was like, who's the most vain in the team?
Oh,
And I was like, and I was thinking to myself, is it something like a Dan Carter,
Yeah.
Brett, the guys that are in the mirror all the time? I was like, actually, the guy who's in the mirror the most, from what I can see, is Brad Thorne.
oh,
I was like, it's Brad Thorne. Because the true story is he used to always just take the piss out of me. And it was funny because he's just he's massive.
Yeah,
I'm
huge.
like tiny.
Yeah.
And he would always say, you're a good kid, mate. Keep trying. But he used to like stand in front of the mirror with this like this. And he's like dances like biceps. And like he used to call him his like, what were those, pythons or something?
Yeah.
Just keep trying to me, he'd be like
Classic.
Sunday. But he wasn't appreciative of it.
Oh, mate, I was going to tell
what
you.
are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Did he hear that?
He did. And I copped it at training a few times because of it.
That's gold. What are you looking back on your career of rugby? What do you reckon the gift it's given you?
I think it's a number of things that I feel really, really lucky. If I was to sort of try and pinpoint it down into one thing, it's probably that just hard work will always beat talent. It's
Nice.
Talent will always win if talent works hard.
Yeah.
But often talent doesn't work hard.
Yeah.
So like, I think just being prepared to, be obviously being smart with where you're placing your time and your energy, but just being relentless with your work ethic just always gets you through.
Yeah.
So I think, that's the big one. I've played with guys that I've seen literally, nothing.
Yeah.
They were terrible rugby players and they became the greatest All Blacks of all time.
Yeah.
And so, that's Owen Franks.
How good.
And so I've seen guys like that, and I've seen guys with just immense talent go nowhere because they weren't prepared to put in the work ethic. And there's nothing magical about that statement, but the real magic happens when you can stick with something for a long, long period of time. And the guys that are the best just do that well. There's a reason why Dan Carter could kick goals from the sideline all the time under pressure.
Yeah.
It's because it's the way he trained.
His muscle memory, because of the so many times he'd done it too, right? Like,
I mean, secondarily, I think that's more of an individual thing, but secondarily, like in terms of leading an organisation or leading a business, I think the importance of like high performance culture, like what is high performance culture?
Totally.
Like, I was lucky enough to be a part of some really successful teams, and what are the differences between the teams that are really successful and the teams that weren't so much? And for me, it was all culture.
Yep. Mate, I'd love to talk about that.
Yeah. So I think, that would be the two probably. Yeah.
Nice. One thing I always say to my son, and I've said it probably the last couple of years, is he really got into football, and it's life rewards effort. Like at the end of the day, and it's great to see kids because I always tell them, hey, life rewards effort. When you see them put in the effort and then they get those rewards, and it's like, they get a goal that they never thought, or they made a tackle or come back, and it's like life rewards those efforts. And I think you're right. So many times, even a business, like you actually have to work hard. And some of the companies that we've dealt with now for 10 years, you see the effort that they put into their marketing. It's no mistake that that's not, they're successful because of that, right? And I think, the day to day, that's a challenge. But because a lot of people think short term,
Mm.
but if you think long term, and especially in business, that's where the rewards are too.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. The thing I'd add to that as well is it's being prepared to make mistakes
Oh,
consistently. Like
totally.
that's where real effort sort of
Yeah.
lies. And I think with kids, you sort of mentioned there, so many people are scared of failure. So many
Yeah.
people are scared to put themselves out there because they may not win, may not fail,
Yeah.
or they may fail, and they may look like a bit of an idiot.
Yeah.
And I think business is exactly the same. I think it's
Yeah.
the people that are brave enough to keep putting in the effort
Yeah.
and looking like they're failing for a long period
Yeah.
of time.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like if you're not making mistakes,
Yeah.
you're not growing.
Yeah.
You know, and in sport it's so obvious. Like, and I
Yeah,
found
true.
that myself as well early in my career at training, wanting to, not do that offload or not kick off my left foot at training because I didn't want the boys to think that I was no good.
Yeah, true.
Whereas actually, fast forward a few years, like
Yeah.
I was like throwing everything I possibly could at training because that's the only way to
Yeah,
grow. And
only way to grow.
I think business is exactly the same. Like you've got to be prepared to take risks and fail consistently, and then you find the thing, find that sweet spot. But you're also just massively growing through that process. So.
Totally. Like we just we have a team meeting every morning, 9:15, and today's an own it moment. So people talk about their own it moments, or other people's own it moments, or their clients' own it moments, and it was real cool. We had some people up in Auckland last week filming. Really quickly got some ads running for this client. The client's ads were performing around $20 a lead. New creative down to 2, 23 leads overnight. And it's like being prepared to have a go at that. Because some people wouldn't run those ads. It's like, actually, we've got to change it up here. We've got to do something different in this market. All of a sudden, you capture that own at moment, and the chance of failing was there, but we didn't. And now we can step it up again. I think that's fantastic when especially around young people, because lots of times they're being told through school, it's not okay there's not really a failure thing anymore, right? So giving them the ability to, hey, you can have a crack here. I think it's good for the clients too.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
High performance culture. Let's talk about that. What are some of the things that you've learned over the years that you've started to use in the business?
Yeah, there are lots, I guess. I mean, the first thing that sort of jumps to mind is sort of, people won't care unless they know that you care. That sort of, if you're trying to get the best out of a team, like how do they know that you care about them as an individual?
Yeah.
Recruitment, I think, is the starting point of that. Like, how do you bring people into the team? They're going to add value rather than take away from the team. I think we've all experienced, when we haven't got that right.
Yep.
So getting the people right, finding that real value alignment. Yeah. Like how do you put a vision forward in the organization or in the sporting environment that really inspires people to give more?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a challenge, right? And also because a lot of business owners, when you think, oh, what's that vision? And why will other people buy into a vision? Because it's kind of my vision, and bringing people into that journey. Because a lot of business owners will say, oh, well, want to make more money, but what does that mean to the team, right? How do you make it bigger? And I think it's a really, really, for a lot of business owners, I have conversations with them about this. How do I make something that everyone wants to be involved in?
Yeah. Well, for me, it's like, get them to help, plan the fight.
Yeah, totally.
Or they'll fight the plan.
Yeah,
It's like, so like, and it takes longer.
Yeah.
It's harder. It takes more work getting around it. But ultimately, I think you get more from it.
Yeah.
You've got people all really aligned with where you want to head. And, once again, it's like, how do you make it inspiring?
Yeah.
How do you make it something that people, once again, want to give more? How do you make people want to pick up the laptop at 9 o'clock at night because they're inspired by what they're doing and what they're trying to achieve? And it's
what are some of the things that have worked for you in doing that? Like I know personally for us, we have a team day. We retired 2 of our core values into the Hall of Fame last year, and we created a new one together in that day that we had. And I tell you what, it's one of the most powerful core values that we have now because the team created it, right? Courage over comfort. It's a great core value that has seen some of our teams step up and do some stuff this year that they would have never done before, like going and doing talks and a whole bunch of other things, And I think when you're right, when you get other people to create it and buy in, there's just so much more buy-in.
I mean, I think honestly, I think that's the key. Like you mentioned their values. Like I think having a really strong set of values, and then I mean, for me, it's it's bringing those values to life through like mini campaigns
Yeah.
and theming those
Yeah,
campaigns on the values.
It's the best thing ever.
Yeah, so like in the sporting world, I never saw anyone do it better than Razor.
Yeah.
He was incredible at creating these themes that were underpinned by the values of the organization, but created the story around how important this was. And once
how
again,
good that is.
mate, I mean, I still get shivers thinking about it, actually, the effort that he put in to, I mean, I'll tell you a quick story on it. Like the first 2017 was Razor's first year in the team. It was my first year back with the Crusaders too, after a long period of time. And the theme for that year that he sort of portrayed, it was a 20-minute video presentation at the start of the season, but it was the Rumble in the Jungle. So it was around George Foreman and Muhammad Ali, this fight.
How good.
And I mean, everything was that, but why was it that?
Yeah.
The reason why it was that is the Crusaders hadn't won Super Rugby for 8 years. This was the 9th season. Muhammad Ali, prior to that Rumble in the Jungle, hadn't been world title holder for that same period of time. So the 8th year going to the 9th year. The Crusaders had lost 2 finals in that time against the Reds and the Waratahs. Muhammad Ali had lost 2 title fights in that time. So there was this sort of this sort of synergy between these two things. But everything in that year was themed on it. So all our plays were jab, punch, cross, hook. Like every day, like the player of the day would get golden gloves. The defender of the day, Muhammad Ali,
so
right?
Good.
Before every game, there was a mini theme within the theme.
Yeah.
So like when we played the Hurricanes, our theme for the week was right hand lead. And so at the start of that fight, Muhammad Ali led with his right hand. First time he'd ever done it.
Wow.
And we changed our defensive structure that game to cater for Bowden Barrett's kicking game.
Brilliant.
So we dropped the guy out of the line. But once again, it may seem like nothing, but everyone felt like there was something special sitting in behind it.
Mate.
Ultimately, came to the last game of the season. We won our semi-final. The Lions won in South Africa. So we had to go across to Africa to play the final against the Lions. Where was the fight? It was in Africa.
Oh, true.
And so like literally no Super Rugby team had ever crossed the Atlantic and won a final ever. So we're the first team to ever do it. And once again, I know this all sounds like a nothing thing, but what it does is it makes people just turn up a little bit sharper. It makes people give a little bit more. It makes it feel like it's meaningful. And it's not just something that sits on a wall that's never talked about. It's thought about and talked about every single day, every single training.
How
it just underpins it all. So I've done similar things in business that have had unbelievable results. But once again, like what is it? Like people buy into stories.
Totally.
They buy into something really meaningful. You know, you make it something meaningful, you go deep on that, you can get some pretty incredible results.
How good. Look, I love themes, and I'll share one in a minute of what we're doing this year and how it's, really glued what we're doing. But just to go back to your point there with Razor, I remember him talking, and I saw him at Inspire Foundation. He talked about turning the fern with the way the All Blacks are going to be doing things for the next 4 years. And seriously, I didn't meet a person there that wasn't ready to sign up and run through a wall. It was seriously impressive. But one of the things he talked about was framing language. And I thought it was really, really interesting. He talked about when you went to South Africa, no team had won because everyone would complain about the jet lag. And he made it that you couldn't talk about jet lag. And I thought, that's a beautiful use of language, right? Like if it's not don't create the problem that's not there. Okay, people because other people were going there and saying, "Oh, the jet lag." You guys weren't allowed to talk about it. And I thought that was brilliant.
His whole thing's like language shapes the way you feel. It shapes your behaviors. It shapes the environment. And so the quickest way to change that is to change your language. So if you're right, like if we got back and we were I'm tired, the flight it's like, hold on a sec. We putting focus there. So like we weren't even allowed to say quarterfinal or semi-final.
Wow.
It's like, this is a final.
There's a final.
You know what I mean? So like, and once again, it's easy to do once or twice, but like what language, what are you saying that is affecting the way you feel, that's affecting your behaviors, that become your actions and become ultimately the way that the team environment is. So, I mean, that's just one of the ways that he drove that.
Oh, and look, you could tell, I remember seeing him at another event this year, and he put up the ship, and he was talking about the picture of the ship and what it was meaning, blah, blah, blah. And I talked to him afterwards, and he just say, make things visual as much as you can. So this year, our theme is, like everyone was saying, survive till 25. And I was like, no way. I was like, we're going to thrive in 25 because we're going to own it, we're going to elevate it, and we're going to celebrate it. And like, challenge everyone this year to own their roles and then elevate their roles. Then we created the monthly champion, the Own It and Elevate It monthly champion. And the team votes on who they think the champion of this month has been. And there's quite a nice reward for it and stuff. But the best part about it is I challenge them not to just vote for someone, write why. And then I'll read out why, Sam won this month. Or why Olivia won the last month. And it's like you're reading out like just statements of what other people in their team have been saying about this person. I'll tell you what, it's so powerful because all of a sudden this person is like, whoa, this is what my teammates think of me.
Yeah, it's so good.
And like you all of a sudden you're starting to create this cadence of, hey, and all conversations this year, because we looked at some of the issues that we had the year before. People would just go to the manager or the leader and go, oh, how do I do this? They're like, no, we can't have that in a Thrive in 25 environment. You have to come, you have to own the problem. You have to come with solutions and at least show us that you've tried one of them. And then you can come. But otherwise, where are you owning your role and how now are you elevating your role? It's really cool to see. You start to see people just taking off and owning their roles, and you start to see things happen that you don't even know that are going on. Projects are running, clients are going, this here over there is happening, and you're like, wow, that's cool. I didn't even know what that was going on, right?
And like the thing, because I talk with people a little bit about this every now and then, and the big question is like, why? Like, why would I do that? Like, that takes effort, takes time to think, does it actually work? Like, ultimately, the reason why you do it is because you get a high performing team.
Yeah.
And so like the thing, if you take a step back, it's like, what do we want to achieve here? What are we trying to achieve? Is it X amount of revenue? Is it X amount of members? Is it X amount of growth? Is it X amount of NPS scores growing? Like, so you find out what you want to achieve and you work backwards from that. And part of working backwards from that for me is really strong values, really strong vision, really strong theming, really strong celebration, as you've talked about along the way, because ultimately you get there faster and you get there more successfully.
Yeah. What are some of the themes that you've been working on? Because I also want to now like switch into a wee bit around O Studios and what you've created there, because it's pretty phenomenal what you're doing in the health and wellbeing space. Talk to me a little bit. Well, let's talk about the concept of what you've created, because it was Float, wasn't it? Like and then you switched it up, and then now O Studios. And how many franchises do you have now in New Zealand?
So we've got 8 operating studios in New Zealand, another 5 opening. So we'll have the Mount opens in a couple of weeks' time up there, and then we've got a new Christchurch facility opening probably January, February, and then we've got a number of others. So that'll take it to 13 by Wanaka will be the last of those. Will open probably July to August next year.
That's exciting, eh?
Yeah, it is. It's epic. I mean, it's pretty crazy. It really is crazy for me. I mean, my vision at the sort of beginning, outside of why we're doing what we're doing, but was for one day one of my girls jumps off a train in London or Paris or somewhere around the world and sort of pops out and says, there's no studio there.
Oh, cool.
Like that sort of this sort of vision I've got in my head. Like what we're doing is we're making, I guess, recovery and well-being like as accepted as practice, as accepted as understood as practiced as physical fitness. So there were no gyms at one stage. Like no one, and why? Because no one understood the importance of physical fitness.
Yeah, true.
And so there was no need to go and practice it. Yeah. You fast forward to now, it's like there's gyms on every corner that cater to the need of physical fitness where people can go and practice. Yeah, true. Whereas what we're learning now, what we're learning over the last sort of 10 years, and we've seen this market sort of evolve, there's more to health than just physical fitness. Yeah.
So that recovery side of it, right?
Recovery and well-being. Like what are you doing to step back? What are you doing to manage stress? How are you utilizing heat? How are you utilizing cold? But doing it in a way that's normal and fun and engaging and not just this sort of, it's not just for women, it's how do you make the brand position nicely? How do you make the environment a place that people love being? So there's a clear opportunity in the market. No one's really nailed it. So we've got we've got a long way to go, but it's very exciting.
It's like even the other day I caught myself thinking, I was watching an old NBA game. And after the game, this would have been I don't know, maybe in the 70s, the best players, 70s, 80s, the best players were icing their legs. And I've never thought about that as a playing rugby or football or cricket, like recovering. But those professional athletes back in the day they were, how do I recover? And as cricketers, we didn't do any of that. We might have, I don't think we even warmed down.
Yeah.
like was straight in the shed and like had a beer. Like it was just I guess that was the way back in the day. But to see now, I can see the benefits of why you'd want to recover. And I think that's professional sport kind of brought that in too, right? Like you guys were doing ice baths before ice baths become famous, right?
Mm.
Like, and I guess, is that where you started to see the value of the recovery?
Yeah, I think it's a really good point. Like, there once upon a time, all high performance athletes weren't lifting weights.
No,
Like there was no rugby players lifting weights.
No.
There was no rugby players doing speed training. It was
Yeah.
like you turned up and
Yeah.
whatever your physical attributes were, this is what you did.
well, that's why farmers were so good, because they were strong from being on the
Exactly.
farm.
Exactly.
They
It's
were
funny,
doing manual labor. So
Yeah.
like Glenmark was a freaking awesome rugby team.
Because they were all strong.
They're all strong. They're all in the Canterbury team because they're all stronger than most of the.
Exactly.
Apart from Terry Wright, I'll say that.
But that's the analogy, I guess. And so like you look at it, so high performance drives innovation. It drives the way things
true.
go. Often in sport is a big place for that. So you're right, like people utilizing cold, but how they're utilizing cold now, like it's different to what it was back then. It was like they were in the cold prior to lifting weights because they know they've got this sort of cold shock protein stored in their liver and that we're free to utilize while they're lifting. Then they'll get in the heat after lifting. They'll never get in the cold after a lifting session to sort of to increase the inflammation, which your muscle growth, your human growth hormone spikes. So I won't go into too much detail, but there's ways to use things like heat and cold. But the core one really is if you're stressed, you won't recover as fast. You won't adapt to the gains of a session. And so like your sleep, your nutrition, your recovery, your sort of ability to like pull back helps your ability to perform. And high performance sports is one part of that. Like we all know as business owners, as people that are in business, if we're not well rested, if we're not clear in our thinking, if we're not feeling calm, if we're not communicating effectively, all of those little things impact our performance. But where do you go where you've got sort of all these tools and services under one roof to work on that? That's what we sort of have tried to create. Because a sauna is fantastic for one, but a float tank might be better for someone else, or a recovery space, or a breathwork session, or
nice.
And so some people want communal areas where they're meeting people and having interesting conversations. For others, they want to pay more and be in their own private exclusive area with saunas and ice baths and stuff. So we've tried to create like a model where you've got this one-stop shop for everything under that recovery wellness arm.
Where did the concept like come from? Like obviously you and your wife, she's had a health. Was that part of it? Like seeing what you could do to help her as well, and then all of a sudden you're like, actually, there's heaps of other people here would like this. Like, where did the idea?
Yeah, that's exactly it. It was flotation therapy that was recommended to Laura in Singapore after a stem cell transplant. Fast forward 4 months, and we were going to have one at home, and then we were actually there's a business opportunity in this. We opened a business and. In our first week, we had 126 people book in for a float.
How good!
And that was with literally a Facebook page.
Yeah, I want to know because Lance probably will watch this or listen to this. What did he say when you said you're opening up a float tank business? Because old school, I'm picking. Like he's a plasterer.
Mate, honestly, he's probably floated 200 times.
Oh, really? That's cool. I like that. And he's inspired me to do one.
He actually got it too. Like you'd be blown away by some of the people. Like some of the. We've had guys that are, own supermarkets that have floated 300 plus times to like run owners of construction companies that have floated hundreds of times.
All right.
Like
I was on the fence. I was on the fence and I haven't done one. I'm going to commit.
It's quite crazy actually. And so
I was worried about the silence in my head.
Yeah.
It's probably why I need to do it.
Yeah. And once again, so like people will have music the whole time if they want to and all that sort of stuff under the water, but there's lots of different options, but ultimately, Cloud9's been fantastic. It sort of showed us that there's an opportunity here.
Yeah.
Because, what it really showed us was, like, Laura and my story isn't unique.
Yep.
Like, lots of people have about challenges in life, whether it be at work or at home. But where do you go to step away from that to be really well looked after? That showed us that actually there's an opportunity in this. I wanted to have more tools and services.
That's cool. It's one of the, like, when I give a voucher to my team, when people get the voucher, they're like, like you can tell people like this is the one they wanted.
Yeah,
You know,
it's a not. I
it's
mean,
like,
yeah, you're right. I
yeah.
mean, it's a nice experience, but it's
Yeah.
also like it's something interesting
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. Yeah. So totally. Hey, so obviously now you've got this business. When did you decide to go, actually, we've got something that will actually franchise here? Because that's for a lot of people, they start a business and that grows and grows and grows. And some people are accidental business owners. But when did you decide, hey, we can franchise this, and we can, we're lucky enough to deal with a number of franchises, and we've helped them probably the last 10 years grow. And you can see when the snowball starts to happen with franchises, man, all of a sudden you start to grow quite exponentially.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, growth is always on the card. I mean, I remember our first team sort of presentation to the O Studio Christchurch team 6 years ago, and I had up on the thing, there's going to be 12 locations in New Zealand. And I remember everyone was just like, "What? What do you mean? We haven't even opened the doors of this studio here. Like, what's going on there?" But it was like, "There's going to be 12."
Well, someone has to have the vision, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
And why was it 12? It was literally just because Les Mills had 12 locations in New Zealand. I was like, "We're going to be."
I thought it might have been 12 because of your rugby jersey or something like that.
But it was like,
okay. But you saw the benchmark.
Yeah, I was like, "Love lead fitness.
Yeah,
I'm going to lead recovery and wellness." And so
Love
that
it.
was sort of where it started. The fact that we've got 13 opening now is interesting. But I mean, a couple of years in, we had a really performing business. So I was doing my second location out in Rolleston. I wanted to test the model in a different market. I wanted it to be a slightly different model. Halfway through setting that up, we got approached by Rachel, who wanted to buy the business. So she ended up buying it as a franchise. We had just gone through it took about a year to build the franchising system to do it properly. And then we turned on franchising, and we started getting inquiries from all over. People interested in this type of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a great business. You do it right, it can do really, really well. But it's also, I guess, it's not a flooded market. It's a market where there's not many of these things that are going on. And so if you get the right locations, you set up right, you can actually do quite well. So franchising is the best way, I think, to grow this type of business. You've got someone who's leading the business, driving it forward in the community. A lot of the owners that we have around New Zealand have managers in place that do the majority of that work, but at the same time, we've got owners that are fully engaged, driving it and enjoying it. So there's a lot of work to do. Don't get me wrong, but I love it.
What are some of the challenges you've started to find as you start to grow and have more franchisees come into the system?
I mean, the crux of it really is I hate letting people down. And I hate it when I can't deliver on expectations. And expectations is interesting in franchising, making sure that we're not just here goes everything. It's like we provide a system, a structure, and support, and you need owners to sort of grab it and drive it. And so who does what? But I mean, relationships are really important to me, and there's times that I just, oh man, I wish I'd done that differently. I wish we'd done this a little bit differently. And we've learned for every new studio how things really should work. So there's our first location in North Island, Takapuna, for example. They were like, because what we talk about internally with our sort of internal story is that we're sort of pioneering recovery and wellness, and the vision we have is like these boats that are like cutting out into the ocean. And where that comes from is like everyone that's come to New Zealand, whether it be European, Māori, Pacific, they've pioneered to get here somewhere along the line.
Totally.
We're sort of carrying on that pioneering journey out is what it's about. But the Takapuna location, they're probably the front of that tip. They were our first location outside of Christchurch, and so they had some real challenges with equipment and setup and all sorts of different stuff. And so I don't know, whenever I see stuff like that play out, I mean, they're incredible. They're doing fantastically well. But at the same time, it's like, no one gets into business because it's easy.
No.
Like someone actually said to me once, I wanted to escape the 9 to 5, so I bought myself a 24/7. It's sort of like, it's so true, mate.
Oh, seriously, when you start, like, and I've spoken to so many business owners, like, and a lot of them are accidental. They've got into something because, they were good at it, so then they decided to start it, and then all of a sudden they got good at it, but then they needed people, and that's when it starts to change, right? When you start hiring people, and you've got to, keep the vision going and keep the people on track, and that becomes for a lot of people, it's not what they learnt or
Yeah.
were taught, right? So they actually have to upskill themselves. And, I've always believed like a business owner, a business will only grow as fast as the business owner will allow it, right? And that a lot of that's up here and what you're learning and the inputs that you're putting in. So it is hard, and that's why I love business owners, because I love them because I know the effort they're putting in. I know the sacrifices they're making. And I know a lot of them, miss out on a few things because of the choices they've made. But at the same time, I believe as a business owner, you deserve to make as much money as you can and do good with that money because of the sacrifice you make, and lots of people put a lot on the line. Some people put too much on the line, to be fair. So, the fact that you're giving people opportunities, I think, is quite cool too, right? And that's where, there will be one in London because people will always want an opportunity.
Yeah, well, that's it. And an opportunity and something they can get really behind and feel passionate about. Like, there's nothing better than someone coming into your facility and just leaving like, mate, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Like, that was incredible.
Oh.
And I think I had a look at the numbers. This was a few months back now, but there was like 119,000 visits into an O studio last year.
How good.
And like I looked, there was close to $400,000 worth of revenue that went through last month.
Yeah.
In an studio.
Yeah.
And so like just to think that there was nothing.
Yeah.
At one
totally.
stage.
That's the coolest part, right?
And that people are choosing and what is meant to be a difficult economy to spend their money on an experience within a studio. Like it's because we've got owners that have created environments that are really welcoming, created environments that are real quality. Like we're premium accessible is what O Studio is. But that doesn't just happen from nowhere. It comes off the back of huge amounts of work, as you've said. Like our owners in New Zealand have they are the pioneers of what recovery and wellness is. I've got no doubt.
I love it. And also it's a service that people have started to realize that they want, And the classic part is, and I always share this when I'm doing seminars and stuff, and I learned real early on, people buy what they want, not what you think they need. And people want this, right? That's why people are buying it. I meet a business owner probably once a week. Oh, I'm creating this. And I'm like, okay, well, how many people have you spoken to about it? None. Okay, well, you probably need to go and talk to 10 people that could give you money because I think you're creating something you think people need. Because you don't get $400,000 worth of business in a month if people don't want it. Exactly, especially in the economy that we have right now. People have to want this to give you your money. And I think that's the coolest part when people start to decide, I'm going to prioritize my health. I'm going to start to prioritize my wellness. And who they look around and who can I give my money to? You guys are creating an exceptional environment where people want to give their money to you.
Yeah. And then
how good's that?
I don't know. And for me, just thinking about where it was, thinking about what we were doing, 7 years ago when this wasn't a thing, like this money was obviously going elsewhere.
Yeah.
But it's I love it because it's growing significantly, but at the same time, I mean, if I have a difficult day, I just go back and read our reviews. Like we just have unbelievable reviews of like real life-changing stuff where people have been at the rock bottom and they're finding their way out through looking after themselves. And
so good.
It's there's lots of good and lots of good to come too.
Yeah. Hey, so someone told me, Paul Wright, said you're expanding to Australia.
Yeah.
How good's that?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's super exciting. It really, really is. My studio moving up into Australia, sort of that's that next step of international sort of expansion, and we've got a fantastic business partner up there that can really wrap around support. They've got they're a big franchising house.
Yep.
And so they're in 6 different countries.
Nice.
They've got hundreds of gyms all over
Love
the
it.
world. So they're moving. They've seen this movement into recovery and wellness. So they partner with us to help roll out O Studio.
Yeah.
And so the goal is 100 locations.
Nice.
In Australia. We've actually just confirmed our first 4 territories.
So good.
Which no one knows. It literally happened 2 days ago. So
how good. Breaking news.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, so when you're looking at growing that franchise and looking at how you I guess keep that quality, because you've obviously chose a position in the marketplace where you want, well, people can come in, but also people can pay a bit more around that exclusivity. How do you keep that, I guess, that level of service and level of expectation going, knowing as you're going to grow? Like, do you have to, do you see, where do you see your role in all of this now? Because it's like, I guarantee it's changed.
Yeah, it definitely has changed. I think getting the right people on board is the key
Yep.
there, and that's why we've partnered up. When we had options of growth into
Yep.
Australia, do we do this ourselves?
Mm.
Like do we try and cut our teeth and figure it all out like
Yeah.
we've
Yeah.
done here in New Zealand? Like very quickly. I mean, I've seen lots of businesses come from New Zealand across to Australia and think
Yeah.
they can do the same
Oh.
thing and get the same results.
Yeah.
So that doesn't work,
No.
and vice versa.
Yeah.
So, but if you work with a partner who's been in franchising for since 2011 in Australia, in the gym industry, which is a similar industry,
Yeah.
like brick and mortar stores, like
Nice.
culturally how things
Yeah.
differ. So getting the right people on
Yeah.
board at the beginning
Yeah.
is fundamental. And I really do believe it's systems and processes.
Yep.
I know that sounds silly, but
No.
if we identify the right locations,
Yeah.
we get the right owners, we build the right studios, we
Yeah.
have the right structure in place,
Yeah.
we can nail it.
Yeah.
And I mean, just on those sort of price points, like accessible premium is us.
Yep.
We'll have
I like that.
We'll have memberships that will be $185 a week,
Yep.
which is super expensive, obviously. But we're looking for maybe 20 of those people
Yep.
across the market, and we just roll the red carpet out. It's
Yeah.
like anything you want, unlimited everything, floats, saunas, ice, everything,
Yeah.
anytime you want. But then we'll have options right back to sort of $35
Yep.
a week. Right
Yeah,
back to
that's sweet.
drop-ins.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so we've sort of created experiences and price points that sort of meet the market where they
Nice.
are. Yeah.
That's nice. You obviously thought about that, because that does fit, right? Because people want to buy premium. There'll be people that want to fly at the front of the plane. There'll be people that want to, all the way down, right?
Exactly.
And they're not missing out. One thing that I captured there is success. I always believe that success leaves clues, right? So, yep, you could have done it yourself, or you can get a partner that's already done it. Give them part of the pie, allow them to join the journey, because they know the pitfalls of going to Australia. They know the opportunities that you create at Australia. Guaranteed you'll grow so much faster by doing that. Your role, though, do you see your role as the visionary in this? Because I'm picking that you want to keep the vision that you've got alive. So how will you do that as you grow?
Yeah, it's such a good question. Like fundamentally to me as well, like the Australian move couldn't impact New Zealand.
Yep.
It had to be a value add.
Yep.
And so that was really important, getting that right. So what am I doing as a leader to make sure that we're nailing
Yeah.
New Zealand, knowing that we've got this focus of Australia that's going to be pulling our attention a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Comes back to the same thing. It's getting the right people
Right
in the
people.
right roles,
Yep.
and making sure we're resourcing really effectively to be able to nail that. But I mean, our vision is really clear. I've been really clear with all our owners from the beginning on what our vision is, and
Yep.
it's to make recovery and wellbeing
Yep.
as understood, as accepted,
Nice.
and as practiced
Yep.
as physical fitness. If we're genuine about that vision,
Yeah.
we can't just be in Christchurch. We can't
No.
just be in New Zealand. We
Yeah.
can't just be in New Zealand, Australia. Like
Love it.
that vision has to be. If we're making this accepted and practiced as physical fitness, we've got to be everywhere.
Yeah.
And so, it's going to be challenging. My role really is going to be as leading that and making sure I honestly think I see a big part of my role is getting the right people on the bus in
Yeah.
the right positions.
Yeah.
I really do
Yeah.
see that.
Totally.
And the successful businesses that are scaled effectively have all been scaled off the
Yep.
back of
Yep.
the right people.
Yep.
And so I think if you're a business owner and you're wanting to grow, I think that's where you've got to look
Yep.
first.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, recruitment is really, really important. I was actually in the States a couple of weeks ago with a whole bunch of agencies from around the world, and there was a presentation done by a marketing firm who's just been bought by private equity, and how private equity and them together are scaling, which is really, really interesting. But he said, when he was at 10 million recurring revenue, all of a sudden it was, someone asked, what was the jump to 30? And it was basically recruitment. And he got the right people at the right time, to the point where when private equity came in, they looked at the leadership team and they were like, right, and it was a really good takeaway. The one, you can do it. Like anyone can do this. Like, it's just because someone's done it doesn't mean you can't. But just getting that leadership piece right was really key. Right people on the bus. The challenge is when you get people on the bus and you've got the wrong people on the bus. How do you deal with that? Because I think that's every business owner.
Yeah.
Like, we all have hires. It's like, and everyone, no one comes to work to do a bad job, but it's like sometimes when you grow, other people don't grow with you. How do you handle that?
I mean, for me, the sort of principle that underpins all that is hire slow, fire fast.
Yeah.
Like, it's if something's impacting culture, like, you can always justify your way around why you can figure it out. Or I remember Steve Hansen saying this actually at one stage. His sort of thing was like, you can either change the man or you change the man.
Yeah.
And Do you get what I mean? Like,
yeah.
you can either try and change the man, but ultimately,
or take him out.
You got to change him because he's not going to change.
Yeah.
And so, hire slow, fire fast, making sure that we've got the right people on the bus, because literally that drives culture, that drives performance, that drives so much. And so, easier said than done. You know, I know we've all been through those sorts of battles, and I'm sure there's more to come as well. But that's where it sits for me.
That's very cool. How do you stay sharp? Like, what's your, obviously, you use your services, but what do you do to stay sharp in the business environment? Are you reading books? Are you getting coached? How do you refresh and stay focused for the challenges that you're having?
Yeah, it's a great question. Like, the first thing for me, because the question is it sits within the question, I think, but like, how do you stay sharp?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing physically?
Yeah.
What are you doing mentally? Because I think you've got to look inward first. Like, what are you, like, I know I'm at my best when I'm doing something physical.
Yep.
I don't have to be setting records like I was trying to set while I was a rugby player, but I make sure I make time for myself.
What do you do? Do you run? Do you?
I sort of do a bit of everything, really. I do a bit of long distance, a bit of strength, a bit of speed still.
Nice.
I try and get like a bit of a broad sort of touch on it. Nothing more than 45 minutes. Because it's hard to find time to do anything at the moment. But so I make sure I'm training physically. I make sure I sleep really effectively. I make sure I build at least 2 recovery sessions in a week. So the ideal for me is 2:00 on a Wednesday, I float. It's like middle of the day, middle of the week, the world just pisses off for 45 minutes.
Nice.
It's like my time to like really think things through. It's like I get in there and I've just got no distractions and I just follow my thoughts around where I'm going.
Nice.
So there's a few things I try and build in the recovery space. I try and eat healthily. I try and drink as little alcohol as possible.
Unless you're at Oasis.
Unless I'm at Oasis.
And the Melbourne Cup.
Have a few. But I know these things sound silly. But so I don't know if you wear any health tracking device or anything like that. But so Whoop for me is like, it's like being a bit of a, oh my God, like I can't hide from this. Like if I have 3 beers compared to 2, my sleep quality, my recovery scores, I didn't tell it that I had 3 beers, but all of a sudden, and I feel it, but you can't hide it. And for me as an athlete, like seeing it, it's oh my God, like okay, I can see what this does. So
mate of mine had one on the weekend, had the Whoop on, and I didn't have my watch on, and he goes, we were sitting there having a couple of beers, and he goes, "This Whoop is going nuts. I'm going to have to take it off."
Yeah, exactly. But I guess what the principle there is like get yourself right first. Like put your own seatbelt on. Like make sure you're physically and mentally sharp. That's step 1. But then it's like making sure that I build time for my family and get that right too, because I know how much that impacts things. So getting that sort of based on a structured work, but definitely listening to podcasts, meeting with good people, try and surround myself with like-minded people that are thinking along the same sort of lines around growth and development and stuff. Some great books, but once again, they're all sort of the icing on the cake for me, that really it's just get that foundational health right, so you can really perform to your best.
I like what you said there, getting yourself right, putting your own mask on, your own seatbelt on first. What are some of the tips you'd give to someone? Because I know there'll be business owners listening to this and they're going, Jesus, well, we're busy. Where do I start? Where should someone start? Because they're busy doing the whacking and the cracking. They're employing people. This time of year is really busy. I'll just wait till next year. This will come out just after Christmas. It'll be in the new year. I want this to go in the new year because I think people will spend some time listening to this in the new year. And I think it's an important one for them to listen in the new year. Where would you say people should start to work on themselves and help themselves first? What would be some of the, what are some of the maybe top 5 things you'd suggest people do?
I think, there's a few things. Firstly, it's like in the physical space, the physical for the fitness space. Like for some people that could be golf.
Yep.
If golf is your physical thing that you enjoy doing, that you can stick to, just stick to it.
Yeah.
Because it's about consistency over time.
True.
Like you can't build muscles in 2 weeks.
No.
It's like a long period of 5 years. The healthiest people are the people that have been lifting weights for 50 years, 3 times a week. Yeah. It's not about, find something that you enjoy doing that you can continue to do in the physical
I think that's
space.
great advice, Like find something that you like doing and that you'll continue doing.
Yeah, that's it. Because it's like, once again, it's small things over a long period of time.
Small hinges swing big doors, Like it's just those little things.
So find something in that physical play.
Like
if you can commit to 2 sessions a week of this, go for it because you enjoy it. Same with that recovery and wellness space. Like, what is it? It might just be going out to the beach once a week and going for a walk and just no distractions, no like clearing the head. It might be coming in for a float.
Yeah.
It might be doing something different, but finding something that you can build into a routine for a long period of time.
Yeah.
So that's the second sort of part. Like, I'd say real easy wins, like drink water.
Yeah.
Drink more water.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's like, I guarantee you make some significant changes in your life. You drink more water. Sleep.
Yep.
Effectively, like prioritize sleep high on your list. And I know everyone thinks they're the 1% or 0.6% that can get away with 3 hours sleep a night and continue to perform. You know, that's an objective, you know, thing, and sleep is good for you.
Yeah.
And so make sure you prioritize your sleep. I mean, I'm all about balance. Like, I'll have a few beers, I'll enjoy some time with mates. Like, I try and get balance in my life. It's about trying to get that right. But I would say find things in that physical space and the mental sort of recovery space and the social space. The financial space is the same thing, you know, like little and often is where the real gains come from. So I just find something easy and small that you can commit to in each of those core areas of your life and stick with it.
I think that's like it, and sometimes that might sound too easy to do, so it's easy not to do.
Exactly.
And that's where people but find something. I think that's great advice. Find something that you love doing. Like, you know, even if it's with your kids. You know, I just love playing basketball with my son. I was rubbish at basketball. All my mates were amazing. I was rubbish at basketball, but I've been playing with them. We play most nights and on the outside got a big like court thing. It's epic, you know. And last night we were playing football, you know, and like we're challenging each other, do uppies and stuff, you know, and just finding something that you can do together as well could be the one thing as well, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Drink more water. We could all drink more water too. Hey, same question but different context, I guess. But what's the one gift that business has given you?
Oh man, there's lots in it. I mean, you mentioned it earlier on, but there's no better personal development tool than getting into your own business and having to figure stuff out. Like, it's almost,
I love it. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
know?
me too, mate. Like, me too. Like, seriously, like the things that I have learned and the connections I've made, the people I've seen and met, and the experience that I've had through just, you know, if I think about myself in 2015, I was so naive, you know, that it was almost like I was naive enough to take a step into business. I think if I was a little bit more over analytical, I'd be like, oh, maybe it's going to be a little bit harder than I think. But that naivety, that sort of, you know, not knowing everything, helped me step in, and like, I'm so glad I stepped in.
Yeah.
Like, someone said to me yesterday, I'm going to muck it up, but it's like you can't steal second with your foot on first.
Totally.
And that's it. Like, it's like you've, and so.
Yeah, that's why they got to move off first to go, right?
Yeah,
you've got to take a leap of faith, right?
You've just got to swing for it.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, we get, my whole thing is I get one crack at life.
Yeah, totally.
I get one crack.
Yeah.
And so like, how do I want to live this?
Yeah,
you know, like, I know how I want to live it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, to live that life that we're able to live, and that I'm going to continue to live, and I want to live.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to be able to take those risks. You've got to be able to take your foot off first. So
it's cool that you've got those visions that, you know, one of your daughters going to get off the plane one day in London too, right? Because if you think it, I believe if you can say it, put it out there, it's going to happen too, right? And that's personal development. Like, seriously, I started this business in March 2016, so we're 10 years coming up next year, and one of the coolest things I didn't realize, because I'd sold a business, right, and I'd done nothing for a bit, but one of the things I didn't really realize is when how good business owners are. They'll help you. And I remember meeting Mike James and Murray Howell. We went out for dinner with their wives, and I remember coming home from and I was like, man, I said to my wife Kara, I said, like, what do they want from us? Because they were so friendly. And I was brought up in an environment where business owners were greedy, business owners were this, business owners were that, you know, because my dad was a freezing worker for 47 years. I didn't even know what a business really was. And it shocked me that when I woke up and realized, actually, these people want to help you. You know, there's so many business owners out there that just want you to succeed, and they're the biggest cheer people for you. Like, they want you to be successful. And when I realized that, now I meet other business owners and I want them to be successful too, right? And I think that's a big part of why I love the business community too, because you've now had so many people coming into your corner wanting to help you. You know,
couldn't agree more.
And we all, the reason we're talking is because of one. He took us fishing.
Yeah.
What a guy, what a person, Paul Wright. Like unreal guy that just wants to help. Super successful.
Yeah.
But just, I was having coffee with him this morning, like talking on some stuff. He's just such a such a good guy to have in your corner.
I know. That blew me away. Actually, he's a really good example. A super successful person that's grown a massive business across 12 countries.
Yeah.
In a really highly competitive industry in franchising. Hardcores.
Yeah.
And it's like a guy like that.
Yeah.
He'll still send me little messages of support around things that he's heard about. And I'm like, how does this guy even? But it's care. As I said at the start, if someone really cares about you, and I think that's where it comes from. Like the successful business owners really care.
Yeah.
They've got a level of care that they're prepared to put in. He's case in point.
Well, they know what it takes to get there, right? They know the graft that you have to put in, especially when you're starting to grow. And as you say, when you take your foot off the base, like sometimes you just can't look back too, right? Like you're either making it or you're not. But you're going to make it if you have people in your corner.
Yeah.
Because I always believe you're one conversation away from a breakthrough too, right? Like you're one conversation of just a golden nugget that he goes, you know what? One thing I remember Mike James from Novus, he's been a client of ours 9 years now. I remember him talking to him real early on. It was, I think the GFC would kind of hit through, and then we were like 2016. There was something else going on in the marketplace, and I remember him just saying, "Scotty, you don't market for the recession, you market for the rebound." He said, "Everyone gets scared." He said, "But we'll put our foot down." And so many times now I've seen it with the most successful people when it comes to growing their business. When everyone else is scared, they're worrying about a recession, the good guys are marketing for the rebound, not the recession. I've never forgotten it, and I've seen it. Now I've seen it play out. So now, and it's my own truth, right? I can see we'll go harder in tougher times because everyone else is leaving. They're going to wait. They'll wait on the sideline.
Yeah.
But that's something from being around people, right? Being around successful people. That actually allows you to build your resilience and build your philosophies as well.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Mate, this has been a great chat. I know you're super busy and I know you have to go. I think we could talk for a lot more, but we'll wrap it up.
We'll do round two sometime.
We'll do round two. One thing, how do people get hold of you? Like, people might listen and go, "Hey, I'd love to know more about O Studio." Where do they go?
Yeah, shoot on to, if you're in Australia, ostudio.com.au is where we've just turned on franchise recruitment over there.
Nice.
For owners that want to run their own ship.
What a great opportunity.
Yeah, it is really cool. Like it's really, really cool. So as I mentioned earlier, we've got sort of 4 confirmed territories, sort of Brisbane and Sunshine Coast, which are be opening in 2026.
How good would one in Noosa be? I actually know someone who would buy that in Noosa.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Pass them my details.
No. I seriously, I'll after this call, I'll give him his details.
Yeah. Head office is in Sunshine Coast, actually,
nice.
our business partner. So, yeah, if you're in Australia and if you're in New Zealand, ostudio.co.nz, all our studios are in there. So if you're in Queenstown, if you're in Takapuna, or if you're in Hawke's Bay, or if you're in Wellington, we've got 8 studios. I shouldn't have said them because I've only said half of them. But wherever you are, there'll be a location that you can sort of get to. To try a service, but also if you're interested in running a business, or just enter your details in there and one of the team will get in touch. Yeah.
I think when you start a business, like if you're looking at a franchise, you should always look where something's on the up curve. And this is on the up curve, like it's only just start, like it's the recovery or that's just starting. This is a business that's going to grow and grow and grow because people are going to start to prioritize, and also that older generation are starting to prioritize now as well. Even though the younger people are probably leading the way, the older generation will start to really get into this as well. So exciting times.
That's it.
Mate, we haven't even talked about marketing. We haven't even talked about a lot of stuff, but really, really appreciate your time. Hey, this has been a great show. Like seriously, there's so many good nuggets. You probably want to watch this one again. So Tim, thank you for your time. These guys have one job now though. Look, we're starting once again hitting in the top 5 for marketing for New Zealand and starting to get in some other charts around the world. So please share the podcast. If you listen to this one, if you've seen some of the videos, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Instagram, please share them. Share them with a business owner, because there's a business owner that needs to hear this podcast today, that needs to hear this conversation. So make sure you share it, and then go check out an O Studio. I'm going to go and have a float. I've never had one before. My team.
Need to get you in an ice bath.
my team, I'm going to start with a float. But I'll definitely, I that's something I think I'm going to do it. So I always walk the talk, and I'm looking forward to it. I know Olivia from my team will like this. She'll want to like make something of this now. She'll listen. She'll actually listen to this one before it goes live. She always listens to the good ones before they go live. So I'm not going to tell her, but I guarantee in the next couple of days she'll go, when are you doing your floats? So,
nice. That's good to hear.
All right. Hey, thanks for your time. Have fun. Go out there, and as always, celebrate your victories.